August is winding down. We are almost at preseason, but for right now, we're going to be talking about some top 5 wingers, some top 5 mascots, and some top 5 logos on today's Locked On NHL.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On NHL. I'm Jay Foster, one of the co-hosts of this Thursday edition of Locked On NHL. You can also find me at Locked On Blue Jackets. That is not Hunter Hodes. He is on vacation somewhere hot and sunny. Stepping in is Nick Morgan of Locked On Preds to get mad about some wingers, I think, is going to be the first thing that we do. Before we do that, I want to thank everyone for making this your first listen of the day. Every day, Locked On NHL and Locked On Blue Jackets and Locked On Predators are all available wherever you get your podcasts. We're all on YouTube and we're also on the SiriusXM app. So, Nick, I'm just going to start straight off because I can kind of see where this is going. I'll just run through the top 5 very quickly. We've got David Pastrnak in first place, Matthew Tkachuk in second, Jason Robertson in third, Mitch Marner in fourth, Nikita Kucherov in fifth place. Is there anyone missing from there?
Is there anybody missing? You know, here's the thing. To me, I'm trying to think out the best way to put this. To me, Alexander Ovechkin, still a top 5 center, or still top 5 winger in this NHL. You know, I just don't think there's many people in the NHL who does what he does as well as Alexander Ovechkin does. Just that pure sniper of a winger, the guy that can rip the shot from anywhere. The only person who maybe is at that level is the guy who is number 1, David Pastrnak. No qualms with Pastrnak, number 1, by the way. I also have to say, like, are people sleeping on Nikita Kucherov a little bit, all the way down there at 5? Like, to me, he would be number 2 on this list to me.
I'm wondering if there's some recency bias here. I don't know at the top of my head. Okay,
even
so he finished
even if
fourth.
There was recency
he finished
bias,
fourth in the points this season. I didn't realize he was. I had a whole thing about how maybe Nikita Kucherov is starting to slow down, and then I've just looked up where he was in scoring, and he had 113 points this season. So and I think he's doing just fine.
And I think
I agree. I think Ovi should definitely be in there. But it's weird because I'm looking at this and I'm like, who do I take out for Ovi? And like Mitch Marner, I guess, but that's still tough. It's still tough.
Yeah, I mean, the question I'd ask is Jason Robertson there yet? Like, he had one really good season and a 100-point season. Like, let's not take anything away from him and what he's done with the Dallas Stars. But are we rushing a little bit, putting him ahead of Nikita Kucherov, like putting him on that tier? Like, he certainly, I think, had as good of a season as Kucherov did last season, even though Kucherov had more points. That's the one I would maybe drop a little bit. You can convince me Matthew Tkachuk second. I would put him at third. I would have Ovi fourth, and I would have Marner fifth. Actually, you know what? The other person I might put fifth instead is Karl Kaprizov. That's another big omission from this list. I would maybe have Kaprizov in the top 5 there just because of what he's done and the volume of work he's done over the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, I wonder also, is Mikko Rantanen a candidate for top 5? He had 55 goals this season.
It's another good one.
It's a lot of goals. I feel like we had a ton of players this season that had like 40, 50, 60 goal seasons. I think only McDavid hit 60, but like I felt like there was a lot of 50-goal seasons here in the NHL, and maybe that's just recency bias. I don't know, but the wingers is such an interesting one because I think obviously because there's a much larger pool than there is for centers, and indeed for goalies as well. But when Hunter and I did the top 5 goalies a couple of weeks ago, we were like, right, okay, well, there's the top 5, and then there's a massive drop off from 6, and now I'm looking at this list and I'm like, I could have like Artemi Panarin is 8th, 9th on this list.
Yeah.
again, I feel like he could be moved up. I think Marchand has an argument to be moved up a little bit. Brady Tkachuk has an argument to be moved up a bit. Like, maybe it's a little bit of homer bias, but I think Johnny Gaudreau should be above where he is. He's currently, I want to say, 14th on this list, 12th or 14th. Like, it's a lot of really, really good wingers in the NHL, which might seem like a stupid thing to say, but it was much harder for me to pick this top 5 in the wingers, I think, than it was for even centers, defensemen, any of the other polls.
Yeah, I mean, you have so much of a volume to choose from. And you mentioned there's some guys that we haven't talked about that had massive seasons. Like, think of like Adrian Kempe with 41 goals last year. Somebody like Timo Meier, a 40-goal season last year. And it's crazy just how much depth there is on the wing position this year. I mean, guys like Clayton Keller, we haven't talked about, and I would put Clayton Keller as maybe one of the top 10 best wingers in the entire NHL right now. And he's somebody that I think finished, if I'm counting correctly, like 15 in this list. So yeah, I mean,
I believe so. Just underneath Jesper Bratt, who I think also
that's another one
too low on this list. But I'm also like, again, it's that thing of like, okay, so we move Clayton Keller up. Who do we move down? If we move Brady Tkachuk up, who do we move down? It's so difficult. What I will say is I have got kind of a look at the overall ranking, and it looks like it's pretty close for the top 8. And then there is Pasternak, Tkachuk, Robertson, Marner, Kucherov, Ovechkin at 6, Kaprizov at 7, Mikko Rantanen at 8, and then there is a huge drop off in the number of like rankings after that. And so Artemi Panarin comes in after that, but there's a big gap between 8 and 9. And so like it's tough. It's tough to look, and I'm like, right, okay, if I want to bump Artemi Panarin up a level, do I bump him? Who do I bump down? So yeah. I think I struggled with this poll more than even the mascot poll. And I thought the mascot poll, which we're going to talk about in a minute, was a tough one.
Yeah. I assume everybody's putting their team at number 1 for that. Also a small qualm when we voted on this, Philip Forsberg, not even on the list. And I think, like, I get it. I think they went by like points last year and Forsberg got hurt. But I mean, he's at least got to be in the conversation for top 20, right?
Yeah, I would put him up there. He was another name that I was, again, surprised to see. I was less surprised to see Patrick Laine left off the list, but to my mind, he's probably up there. Maybe not top 20, but I think he's pretty close. And then if you start getting into, okay, well, how many do you include? Because I think the vague thought was you include one from every team, and then I think they were like, well, Oilers fans will get mad if we can't have McDavid and Draisaitl on the list for the centers poll. So it's tough to kind of work out. But yeah, I like Forsberg a lot. I think he is super underrated in this league. Jake Gensel is another guy that I think is super underrated and did not make the list. It's an interesting one. I think I'm mostly happy with the top 5, though, if we kind of go back to that. I do think I would swap Ovechkin out for Mitch Marner. I was, like I said, I was fully willing to throw Nikita Kucherov to the Wolves and then realized that actually he's still sick. Yeah. So yeah, I guess I take Mitch Marner out, which again feels wrong because I think Mitch Marner is a really, really strong winger. I guess I'm thinking about Jason Robertson in terms of if he keeps having seasons like he's having. Like he's the star of that Dallas Stars team. Yeah. So it's really tough to argue against him in terms of the season that he had this season, I think. But we'll see if he can recreate it next season.
Yeah, fair.
In a minute, we're going to go from talking about wingers to mascots, which I think is much more important in terms of ranking. So we'll do that in just a second here on Locked On NHL. First, though, I've got to get you guys ready for the NFL season, and I've got some incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. That's guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5, we're going to get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. As someone that spends approximately $700 a month on streaming subscriptions, that seems like a pretty good deal to me. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use. You can bet everything from spreads to player props and more. And it doesn't have to be the NFL. The MLB playoffs are coming soon. The NBA is going to be back soon. The NHL is going to be back soon. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Kick off the NFL season with an offer you aren't going to want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL, and also us, the Locked On Podcast Network. Welcome back to Locked On NHL. I'm Jay Foster. That's Nick Morgan. I appreciate a man who also has an underscore in the first section of his Twitter handle. That's the kind of guy that I appreciate. Let's talk mascots, because for me, there is a clear winner and then everyone else exists. So if we kind of take the fact that Gritty is obviously the best NHL mascot out of the equation, how do you feel about the rest of the list? Which, for the people listening, in second place was NJ Devil, which I feel like the name could be a little bit more creative there. Third is Bernie the St. Bernard. 4 is Howler the Coyote. And 5 is Wild Wing from the Ducks.
Can I ask a question? Sure. Where is Youppi? Where is
That's
Youppi?
A very good question.
Arguably the most famous mascot other than Gritty in maybe the entire world when it comes to sports. And he's
Youppi was ranked 11th.
Yeah, ranked 11th in this list. The guy is in the Hall of Fame, like the Mascot Hall of Fame. The only NHL mascot to be in the Mascot Hall of Fame. And you're telling me he's not even like top 10? He's behind, no offense, Jay, Stinger from the Blues.
No, I was fully gonna move Stinger down. Stinger's a horrifying mascot. He's not as bad as like my personal least favorite mascot is the Oilers mascot. Is it Hunter the Wolf or something?
Yeah, it's like
because wolves shouldn't have abs, and it upsets me. It upsets me a lot when the mascots have like these sewn in abs, and Hunter has those, and I don't like it. The other one I wanted to complain about is Carlton the Bear is ranked last, and that seems unfair. I like Carlton the Bear. He's inoffensive. The kids love him. He always plays in goal when they do the charity or the all-star mascot game, which I like. I assume because the guy in the mascot suit is a goalie in real life, but I like Carlton, and I think I would have Carlton in my top 5. And so to see him ranked last, behind the horrifying Muscles mascot and whatever the hell Vegas has as their weird lizard mascot, that felt unfair to me.
Yeah, Chance the Gila monster, or Gila, or I don't know how they pronounce it out there in Vegas. Wouldn't you like to see, maybe Carlton's the emergency goalie, the E-Bug for the Toronto?
Oh, I would love that.
Like, wouldn't you just love to see a mascot come down, like pad and all, and just yeet himself across the crease to stop like a one-timer from the other side of the slot?
That would spark so much joy. That might make me a Leafs fan.
Yeah.
Might.
You couldn't do worse than Jack Campbell. Let me tell you that. Yeah, I mean, Gritty is obviously one. Youppi to me, like I just said, should be number 2. And then it's just, it's tough because it's everybody's personal preference in here. Like, obviously, I'm a big Nash guy. I think the other I think unique one, Bailey from the Los Angeles Kings, like the big lion. That's one that's been, good social media presence, is always kind of, in the mix of, little viral moments and stuff like that.
I will on that topic give a shout out to SJ Sharkey, who I believe either the morning of recording this or late the night before posted. So Erik Karlsson's oldest child loves mascots so much and loves SJ Sharkey so much, and obviously they're packing up to move to Pittsburgh, and so SJ Sharkey went over with a camera and he took her like a present and everything, and they did this like little goodbye video to, I can't remember what his daughter's called, but it was extremely cute and extremely good and made me really sad, but in like a nice way. I'm a big fan of SJ Sharkey typically. I think it's It's an easy mascot for the San Jose Sharks, but they've worked well with it. I like what they've done with it. They haven't tried to overcomplicate it by like the New York Islanders have a dragon for their mascot, which I guess that's better than some kind of horrifying anthropomorphic like fisherman in a like giant Sesame Street fisherman. But it's yeah, no, I like Esther Sharkey a lot. Like you said, I think the Twitter and the social media presence is key to a mascot, especially, you know, you can't always go to games. I will say I have a couple of really fun stories, like behind the scenes stories for Gritty. So I went to the San Jose All-Star game back in 2019, had a ton of fun. My friend worked at the time for the NHL in their like digital marketing stuff. So she was in town and we were going to get brunch. And she was like, oh, sorry guys, I have to cancel brunch because I was going to, I need to meet with the Flyers social media person and she can't meet because they don't know where Gritty's going to be. And so I love the idea that like Gritty holds the schedule for all of the Philadelphia Flyers social media, and they just have to kind of follow him and see what he does. The other thing was that during the skills competition, Gritty stole a child. So he just picked up a child and left.
Yeah, kidnapping. So, it's Gritty. Gritty's the one mascot that can get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if he's
a perfect storm of marketing, I think, with Gritty. That's what it is. It was everyone, he was released and everyone was like, oh, we don't like that. And then Philadelphia was like, what do you mean you don't like that? Now we're going to like it even harder just because everyone else hates it. And like, that's how Gritty happened is obviously Philadelphia loves to hate things, but you're not allowed to hate it because it's from Philadelphia. So like just perfect marketing from Philly.
And doesn't it seem like they're shifting towards the just bizarre mascots, like teams around the world, like, you know, to be like, you know, the cute little animal, or, you know, in baseball, just somebody with a baseball on their head, like something, you know, super easy, non-offensive, non-terrifying to children. And then Gritty comes along. Everybody's
like, oh,
yeah, but then
everybody
falls in love. And then, you know, it quickly transitions to, oh, we got to just make this off the wall as possible. Kraken did that with Bowie. Like, definitely, like, part of the whatever genus of species Gritty is, Bowie belongs to that family. Yeah. The Atlanta Braves completely redid their mascot to be, like, some amorphous blob. Like, it's funny how Gritty just set the tone for just all of these, like, chaotic, nightmarish mascots that everybody fell in love with. Also, a shout out to the last mascot that got into the top 5, because I feel like he was the original viral mascot star, and that was Wild Wing from the Ducks, just because of the whole he was the mascot that fell into the fire trying to jump through the circle of flames.
Oh yeah,
back in the day. Like that's kind of what I voted on, just like how many mascots have been involved in like weird iconic NHL moments over the year. The Harvey Hound for Calgary getting his tongue ripped out by Craig McTavish, that was another one. That's how I voted. It's just when have I seen these mascots do something completely off the wall? I think right. that was how I voted on this.
I think it would be really interesting to look at top 5 mascots voted by people who don't know the NHL. Just because to me, it's like, I feel like Gritty has kind of transcended the NHL. You know, like he was in Abbott Elementary. He was in the new season of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like he has kind of transcended this niche space in a similar way that like I think Youppi has. Obviously, he's probably one of the more recognizable. I think Wild Wing also, like you said, is one of the more recognizable outside of an NHL context.
Right.
And so I think because the NHL is so niche, it's always interesting to see what takes off and like hits outside of the insular community of hockey fans.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that, yeah, maybe Gritty's the in to kind of being up there with like Philly Fanatic in terms of just everybody instantly knows who that mascot is, or Mr. Met from, you know, the New York Mets, or, you know, basically just anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would put Gritty and the Philly Fanatic on a similar pedestal. Philly's doing okay with mascots right now, which that makes sense for a city that has to like go out and like put lube on all of the lampposts whenever the Eagles win. It makes sense that all of their mascots are like horrifying eldritch beings.
Yeah, waiting for the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl when Gritty is jumping off of the jumping off the side of the art museum there and into a crowd of people.
That's what I want. That's just what I want out of life. I think that would fix me. What's wrong with me? No one knows. But I feel like Gritty jumping off the side of jumping off the side of Wells Fargo, I think would fix me. We're gonna take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk about another fairly contentious ranking, I think, because again, everyone has their favorite, and it's usually the team that they support. We're gonna talk about logos in just a second here on Locked On NHL. All right, we are back with Locked On NHL. I'm Jay Foster. That's Nick Morgan. We've talked about wingers. We've talked about mascots. Equally important in the game of hockey, I think. But now we're going to talk about logos, which there was really only one thing I wanted from the logo ranking, and they didn't give it to me. But let's talk about the top five. Number 1, Detroit Red Wings. Number 2, Arizona Coyotes. 3, Maple Leafs. 4, Penguins. 5, Kraken. There are a couple that make sense in here, and there are a couple that are just completely nonsensical to me.
What's your one nonsense one?
The Penguins being there makes no sense to me.
That's the one that I had the biggest qualms with too.
I am a big fan of the RoboPen logo from like the late 90s ish. I don't like the current one. I don't like any of the colors. Like, this is partially I don't like that they're using like sports gold. It's yellow. It's pretentious and I don't like it. But the Penguins logo, like, I don't know. I don't like it. I think it's vaguely horrifying. This weird top-heavy penguin skating through a triangle. I have no issue with the Red Wings. Obviously, universally recognizable. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Is it the Gordie Howe jersey that he wears? It's an iconic thing. The Kachina in Arizona is my personal favorite. I think that is just such a baller logo. Beyond that, I don't really have any super contentious opinions. I don't think. I like the Maple Leafs logo. I think it's simple. I think it works. Again, it's universally recognizable. The Kraken logo is fine.
Yeah, to me, the Kraken logo is I love the color scheme. I love the jerseys. I love that like navy and kind of like teal sea foam. I like the jerseys more than the logo itself, but I admire it. It's like kind of cool, kind of creative. I'm with you. I don't have a huge issue with this top 5 other than I would drop Pittsburgh a little bit lower. Absolutely agree. Red Wings 1. I would have put Toronto 2 and Arizona 3. I'm with you. The Kachina Coyote is classic. I 100% love that they brought that back for their main scheme. The other one that got left off, I think just from a historic standpoint, is Montreal. Like, I know it's just a C with an H, but it's one of those things where it's, like the Detroit, instantly recognizable. You see that logo, you know exactly what sport it is, what team it is. You can maybe say the same for, the New York Rangers too. But, one of those two, I think I would have replaced with Pittsburgh. Let me ask you this. So, we talk about maybe like some of the original 6 teams or older teams kind of having some of the more recognizable logo. Is there a logo that maybe you love from a creative standpoint that maybe not everybody else is like completely sold on as a great logo?
So I really love, I don't know if it's one that I'm sold on that everyone else hates or isn't super sold on. I really like the Tampa Bay Lightning logo. I think it's clean. I think it's simple. I think it does exactly what it says. I like the jerseys as well in Tampa Bay. It's really hard to kind of set, for me anyway, because that's where I see the logo is on the front of the jersey. And so it's really hard for me to separate the logo from the jersey sometimes, but I like the logo and I like the jersey as well. I think Tampa Bay is a stealth pick for my top 5 anyway.
That's a good one too. Yeah. The one I was thinking of, and I think this wound up being 14th, I think 14th in that range, maybe 15th. I'm doing a very rough count right now. And that's the Minnesota Wild. It seems like a lot of people either really love the Wild logo or really hate this, but I love like the collection of nature, the giant bear head, like the stream forming the mouth and like the North Star for the eye. I've always loved that look. I've always loved the green and red. I am a huge fan of those original Minnesota Wild jerseys, like, you know, the all green with like kind of like the gold striping and just like the weird font numbers and stuff like that. To me, that was like one of my favorite jerseys ever. Had no connection to the Wild whatsoever, but I absolutely wanted a Minnesota Wild jersey.
It's such an underrated logo. I think because I think the Wild is such a weird team because obviously like hockey is massive in Minnesota, but I feel like the Wild are always kind of almost an afterthought somehow, which is weird. But I agree, love the logo. Another one that I like is I like I've lost it now. The Kings logo. Again, I think it's clean. I think it's simple. Again, instantly recognizable. I do kind of miss the purple jerseys, but here's a question for you because I was thinking about it. What team would you put in the top 5 if they were using maybe an older logo? So, for example, for me, I love the Flying Skate logo from Vancouver. To me, that would catapult the Canucks straight into the top 5. Buffer Slug is another good one.
The Buffer Slug
from what, 2008, I think it was.
Yeah.
So what do you have a logo from like the past that you really love?
It's funny because everyone hates the Buffer Slug. Like it's kind of wild. So to hear that you would have put that in the top 5 is kind of wild.
No, I think it's so weird. I love it. Like it's like the weird uterus Dallas one. What is it? The Mooterus?
The Mooterus, yeah.
Again, vaguely horrifying, but I do kind of love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the one that I think instantly comes to mind is the Ducks. Like, everybody loves, like, the old Wild Wing logo with, you know, just
the one that was on the reverse retro.
Yeah, just like, you know, like the Jason mask and with the bill on it. You know, I think that was instantly recognizable. The green / eggplant color combo, that was super unique. And it's, you know, in one of the best Disney franchises of all time. So that's one that I would have put up there. And the other one I would put up there is I really loved the Florida Panthers old logo as well.
Oh, interesting. I feel like a lot of people either love the old logo or the new one.
Yeah. And the new one's fine. Like, it's nothing special. It's just a panther with the word Florida on it. Like, it looks cool. Like, it looks clean, but there's something just terrifying, you know, but like in a good way, just about like the full panther with the claws out jumping.
The full panther always reminds me of Roberto Luongo, and I'm not sure why, but like for me, that jersey is kind of synonymous with when he was playing. A weird Florida Panthers fact is, I can't remember which way around it is, but I discovered during the Stanley Cup playoffs this season that the home jersey and the away jersey have different logos. One says Florida and one says Panthers. And I'd never noticed that before, and I don't know if I don't know how I feel about it. Yeah. I do know how I feel about the Blue Jackets being ranked last, which is that I understand it does make me sad. The Blue Jackets are another team that have a really cool secondary logo. So the circular cannon logo, I love that one. I think that's, again, maybe not top 5, but a top 10 logo in this league. I do understand that everyone hates the current logo. It's not great. Better than the old one, but it's not great. It does make me sad that it was dead last when you've got logos like Chicago like 16th in the league, and I hate that logo.
Yeah, for a number of reasons.
We're not going to get into it.
Both on and off the ice. I mean, Columbus, they started with just like the weird red candy cane looking CBJ with the stinger on the side.
I do love the old like stinger shoulder patch. I do think that was good, but everything else about that jersey was bad.
Somewhere there's still a Jeff Sanderson Columbus Blue Jackets jersey in my collection somewhere that had the stinger logo somewhere. That's long lost. Before Rick Nash came around, the peak of the Columbus Blue Jackets fandom.
Yes. 2002, a wild time.
Yeah, good time for the state of Ohio there. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like everybody's kind of got their own sort of take on this list, but to me, the top 5, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling down the list to see if I've missed anyone that I want to talk about. I don't think so. I think I've covered maybe all of the ones. Again, I like the Flyers logo. I think that's kind of a universally recognized logo. Maybe not as much as the others, but again, it's one. The Flyers logo, I think, is the only logo that hasn't changed in the past. Like, when did they join the league? 1968.
68, yeah.
So it's been almost 60 years. I think I can't do math on the fly, but it's been a long time, and they have not changed the logo at all, and I kind of respect that about them.
Yeah, for sure. Like any team that really hasn't done any major adjustments to. Oh, other one for go back and do a retro logo that would have been way higher. The Fisherman.
Oh,
for the Islanders.
I don't like the Fisherman jersey, and I understand that that's the incorrect opinion to have, just like objectively speaking, but I don't know what it is. I really liked their, like, again, in the minority here, they had that like black and white alternate with the weird circle logo. I liked that, and really? I am the only person on the face of the earth that liked that logo.
It's funny how just everything is, they change like the logos from like the 90s and stuff because they're terrible. We miss the old branding, and now it's like, oh my God, we got to get this bag. We got to get the Fisherman bag. We got to get like the Anaheim Ducks mascot breaking through the jersey bag. Like the
people love nostalgia. Like, yeah, it's wild. I want to finish off. This is not a logo thing necessarily, but I do just want to say, when will we have more NHL teams that are not some combination of red, black, blue, and white? Give me purple. Give me more green. They will never do pink because pink's not for men, and we couldn't have that. But I would love, I love the Miami Heat like neon pink jerseys that they had. Like, give me something like that in the NHL, please. Something else that's not just a different shade of blue.
Yeah. Although I will say light blue with like really like light yellow, like the Pitt Panthers from college.
Oh, yeah.
One of the more underutilized color schemes, and I wish more teams would do that more. Kind of glad that the Sabres
the UCLA Bruins also have that kind of pale blue and yellow, which I only know because I was watching. It was college bowl season. I was in the States, and we were in a ramen place, and there was it was like the Tony the Tiger Bowl or something that was happening. And of course, because that's how
Sun Bowl
capitalism works in America, is everything is sponsored by a cereal, I think. But I was like, yeah, that's a good color scheme. More NHL teams should use this color scheme instead of. I love the Kraken color scheme, but I was disappointed that it was more dark blue in a league that is already predominantly dark blue, red, and black.
Yeah, fair. Let's get some more colors on there.
Yeah. Maybe no more yellow. I think yellow is good, but we have enough yellow teams.
Well, let's go magenta or something like that.
Something just really unexpected.
Yeah,
a turquoise maybe, which I guess that's almost like what the Sharks have. We have to finish this, otherwise we're gonna be here like in an hour talking
we will
about
list
like
every color on the color palette.
Yeah, pick your favorite hex code color and put it in the comments, and we'll make a jersey out of it. That's kind of all we've got for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day. I'm Jake Foster. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster. You can find Nick at Twitter at _NS Morgan. Follow Locked On Blue Jackets, follow Locked On Preds. Hunter's not here, so I'm not going to say follow Locked On Penguins because I don't have to, and I think less people should pay attention to the Penguins. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. We are available on all podcast platforms. We're over on YouTube. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, where Gil and Rachel will be hanging out and catching you up with all of the current NHL news. And make sure you check out Locked On NHL Prospects. They just got done ranking all of the NHL prospect pools. I personally think they did a great job, and I'm not biased in any way whatsoever. But you should go check those guys out as well. And until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.